Jurgen Klopp entered a Liverpool side who had just sold all their best players, hadn't won a Champions League in a decade, and never lifted a Premier League title in their history. But in just a couple of years, he somehow turned them into the most terrifying team in all of Europe, winning literally every trophy there was to win. But how on earth did he do it? How did a crazy German transform a trophyless Liverpool into the greatest team in Europe, and doing it with half the transfer budget of his competitors? This is the insane story of how Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool quite literally broke football. Now, before we get to his time in Liverpool, we have to understand how he got there, because he was no household name as a football player. The truth is, he was bang average at best, as he spent basically all of his playing career at German lower league club Mainz, who were better known for their festivals than their football. And after an underwhelming playing career was finished, he was given the job as their manager, where he surprised everyone, as in just his first season in charge, he won promotion to the Bundesliga for the first time in the club's history. But not only that, because then, with the smallest budget in the entire Bundesliga, he managed to get Mainz into the UEFA Cup, causing the entirety of Germany to start looking at Jurgen and wonder what magic he possessed as a coach. It wasn't long before Borussia Dortmund hired him as their next manager, and there, he really shocked the world. He developed his gegenpressing style of football, which blew opponents away. This style was new to football. It was an extremely high-pressing and high-energy system, which other clubs could just not handle. During his time in Dortmund, he won the Bundesliga twice, the DFB Pokal, and even reached the final of the UEFA Champions League, where, unfortunately, he just couldn't get over the line. And then it wasn't long before Bayern Munich started snapping up their best players in Mario Götze and Robert Lewandowski, meaning Klopp's Dortmund started to fade away. That was the problem with German football, because no matter what, Bayern will always dominate eventually. But still, the work Jurgen Klopp did to lift 2 Bundesliga titles made him the most sought-after coach in all of Europe. But there was something different about Jurgen. He loved the fire and the passion in football. That's why he loved Dortmund so much. That also meant he couldn't take just any job in football. There needed to be his heart in it. So, when Liverpool came knocking on the door, a sleeping giant with one of the strongest fan bases in all of Europe, this decision was a no-brainer. But what exactly was the state of Liverpool at this point in time? Well, they'd parted ways with manager Brendan Rodgers, who, as far as Liverpool managers go, had done reasonably well, as he came oh so close to the Premier League title, if not for that one fatal slip from Steven Gerrard in 2014. After that season, all their star players had left the club, with Suarez going to Barcelona, Sterling to Man City, and even Steven Gerrard had left to the MLS at the end of 2015. And with all that happening, Liverpool slipped from title challengers to a measly 6th place finish by the time Brendan Rodgers left. But beside the recent issues, Liverpool had been struggling for decades, as they hadn't been able to replicate their success of the 1980s, lifting only 1 Champions League and 0 Premier Leagues in 3 decades. The Liverpool fans were hurting because, in this time, their rivals Man United lifted the Premier League title 13 times and the Champions League twice, as they overthrew Liverpool to become the most successful club in England. So, now the stage was set. Jurgen Klopp arrived in Liverpool on the 8th of October 2015, as the entire fan base prayed he could replicate the magic he conjured up over in Dortmund. And let me tell you, from now, I don't think a single Liverpool fan could have predicted just how well it was going to go. But before we get to that, I need to tell you about the new tool I've been using to create the very best football edits on YouTube and go viral time and time again. I'm talking about the ultimate AI-powered editing tool, Wondershare Filmora. You see, getting millions of views is not luck, because viral videos all follow patterns, same pacing, same motion, same captions. And Filmora's latest update to Filmora 15 basically gives you all the tools to rebuild those viral formats in one easy-to-use editor. So let me show you exactly how I've been using this lately. Sometimes I have a video, but it doesn't quite fit what I want. Here, I use Filmora's AI Extend tool, which makes use of the Nano Banana and VO3 models to drag footage and generate consistent video forward and backwards. I just type a prompt like slow zoom in or cinematic motion, and Filmora builds extra footage on the timeline. But that's not all, because the new pen tool lets me draw my own path and attach stickers or icons to it, making this a game changer in the editing process. Take a look how I use this for my videos. And probably my favorite tool of them all is the dynamic captions, because these are a game changer for retention, as they instantly make everything feel higher quality. Oh, and did I mention that after all of this, with just one single click, you can literally enhance the entire video's quality. With all these tools in one place, it makes creating viral videos that much easier without having to jump between 5 different apps and pay 5 different subscriptions. So, if you're creating videos either on YouTube or any other platform, Filmora is truly the tool for you. If you want to start going viral, try Filmora today. Top link in the description. Okay, now let's get back to the video. Now, when Klopp arrived in Liverpool, this club was an absolute mess as they just couldn't score goals since the loss of Suarez and Sterling, and for some reason, Liverpool's owners thought that the answer to Liverpool's goal shortage was to sign Christian Benteke and Danny Ings. This was one of the most average Liverpool teams, with the only notable players being Jordan Henderson, James Milner, Bobby Firmino, and the diamond of the team, Felipe Coutinho. But despite this, expectations at Anfield were high, with the hope that every new manager is the one who will bring back the glory days of the 80s, but Klopp addressed these high expectations early on by telling the press, "Does anyone in this room think that I can do wonders? I'm a normal guy from the Black Forest," which was a strong contrast to what the press were used to with the likes of Mourinho. Jurgen Klopp's first Liverpool game came on October 17th away to Tottenham Hotspur, as the match ended in a goalless draw, and from the team he put out, there was no wondering why. In goal stood Simon Mignolet. The back four consisted of Nathaniel Klein, Martin Skrtel, Mamadou Sakho, and Alberto Moreno. The midfield trio saw Lucas Leiva, Emre Can, and James Milner acting as the engine room, and the forward line saw Adam Lallana, Felipe Coutinho, and Divock Origi take center stage. It was going to be a long road ahead, as that season Liverpool struggled in the league and eventually finished 8th as defensive issues hampered the club's hopes, with Liverpool conceding 50 league goals, and Liverpool only signed Marco Grujic this year, meaning the squad saw no meaningful changes. But despite the leaky defense, he did start to build the foundations of his heavy metal football and introduced England to gegenpressing, where players press hard to win the ball back immediately after losing possession, as well as creating a never-say-die mentality that saw Liverpool pull off comeback wins and score last-minute winners like Adam Lallana's late goal in a 5-4 win over Norwich that saw Klopp literally break his glasses during the celebrations. Klopp also managed to reach the League Cup final, where they lost on penalties to Manchester City in one of his epic matches against Pep Guardiola. And then, looking to the Europa League, Liverpool faced Klopp's former club Borussia Dortmund in the quarterfinals, and in a dramatic second leg, Liverpool came back from 3-1 down to win 4-3 in the last minute, and then beat Villarreal in the semis to make it to the final. But unfortunately, Klopp couldn't get his hands on his first Liverpool trophy, as the team lost 3-1 to Sevilla in the final, making it 2 final defeats in his very first season. This was also adding fuel to rival fans' criticism, as he had also lost the Champions League final when he was with Dortmund, prompting fans to label him as a bottler who couldn't get over the line. But after this season, Klopp knew who was to stay and who was to go, and in that summer, Liverpool binned off 15 players, including Benteke, Joe Allen, Mario Balotelli, and Martin Skrtel, meaning the Brendan Rodgers era was truly over. This also meant Klopp could really start putting his stamp on the squad, and he did exactly that by splashing out on Southampton forward Sadio Mane, as well as adding Joel Matip, Loris Karius, and Jorginho Wijnaldum to the team. Now, due to their 8th place finish, Liverpool had no European football going into 2016-17, and this actually proved to be a blessing, as it meant more time on the training ground, more focus on the style, and growth was definitely coming. Despite losing to Burnley in the second week of the season, Liverpool started 2016-17 on fire, winning 8 of their opening 11 games to go top of the table at the start of November, thanks to the attacking form of Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino, as Liverpool scored 4 or more goals in 5 of those opening 11 games, which actually kept a title challenge through Christmas. But this is when Sadio Mane had to go to the Africa Cup of Nations, and without him, Liverpool slumped to a 5-game winless streak, putting title hopes to bed very quickly. Come the end of the season, they had a strong push and secured Champions League football with a 3-0 win over Middlesbrough on the final day, but still, their defensive issues caused them problems all year. And to make matters worse, come the summer, Liverpool were about to be hit with some bombshell news, as their star player Felipe Coutinho was asked to leave the club, with Barcelona offering a huge fee for the Brazilian. Coutinho had signed a 5-year deal just 6 months prior, but with the strong interest, his head had turned, meaning Liverpool spent the whole summer fighting off higher offer after higher offer, managing to keep Felipe at the club for now. But during that same summer, there was one bit of business that Liverpool did which can be seen as the watershed moment in the club's recent history. A signing who quite literally changed the trajectory of the entire club, and that was Mohamed Salah. Whilst now we look back and think about this signing as obvious, it really wasn't at the time. You see, Salah had already played in England for Chelsea a couple years prior, but struggled to perform. He had then been loaned out to Fiorentina, then to Roma in Italy, and eventually joined on a full transfer where he finally began to shine, scoring 19 goals as Roma finished second in the Serie A. But still, fans were questioning whether he could perform in the Premier League, especially as Liverpool spent more than £40 million on him, which at the time was a club record sum. So now Klopp had completed his attacking unit, a front three consisting of Salah, Firmino, and Mane, with Coutinho playing in behind them, and they started the season awfully. They were battered 5-0 by Manchester City, 4-1 to Spurs, and won only 3 of their opening 9 games. But then something just clicked as Liverpool smashed through the league with a 14-game unbeaten run that pulled them up to third, with Salah scoring 13 goals in that run alone, as he already established himself as one of the deadliest wingers in the league. The same Klopp story continued, goals galore on both ends as the defense just wasn't good enough, until finally the January transfer window rolled around and Liverpool completed the signing of Virgil van Dijk from Southampton for a jaw-dropping £70 million, smashing the club record Liverpool had spent on Salah in the summer. But this deal was only made possible because they knew what was about to happen the following week. Felipe Coutinho kept pushing for that move and finally got his way as Barcelona dropped over £100 million on their star man. This felt like a devastating blow at the time, but looking back, it was the turning point of the club as the team was finally starting to take shape in the way Klopp was envisioning. Van Dijk and Dejan Lovren as the center-back pairing, local boy Trent Alexander-Arnold, and summer signing from Hull City Andy Robertson as the fullbacks, James Milner, Jordan Henderson, and Wijnaldum in midfield, and Salah, Firmino, and Mane up front. This team was doing well in the league too, even beating Pep Guardiola's basically invincible Man City team 4-3. And Salah, well, he was on absolute fire, scoring 4 goals in one game against Watford and finishing the season with 44 goals in all competitions, even breaking the Premier League goal-scoring record in his first year in England, landing him the PFA Player of the Season award too. But while Liverpool only finished 4th in the league, this season was all about the Champions League, as Liverpool smashed Porto in the round of 16, then even beat Man City 5-1 on aggregate in the quarterfinals. The semi-final looked to be just as comfortable as Liverpool went 5-2 against Roma at Anfield, but come the second leg, had to survive a late scare as Roma won that tie 4-2, meaning Liverpool just about got through on aggregate with a 7-6 scoreline. And now the stage was set. The Champions League final in Kiev, where Liverpool fans dreamt of lifting it for the 6th time in their history and the first time in almost 15 years. They faced off against Real Madrid, who had won it the previous 2 seasons, and this was about to get controversial. In the first half, Sergio Ramos locked his body around Salah's arm, causing Liverpool's star player to dislocate his shoulder and have to leave the pitch injured, meaning Liverpool were about to play the majority of the final without their star man. Ramos then elbowed Liverpool goalkeeper Loris Karius in the head, causing him to suffer a concussion, which eventually led him to make the biggest mistake of his entire career as he threw the ball straight at Karim Benzema to gift a free goal. Mane quickly equalized, putting that mistake to rest, but it wasn't long before Karius mishandled a long-range shot from Gareth Bale and then let in a stunner of a bicycle kick, also from Bale, meaning this game ended 3-1 in favor of Real Madrid, and Jurgen Klopp had lost yet another final. But still, the signs of growth were there, and this Liverpool team were just a few puzzle pieces away from absolutely exploding. As the summer rolled around, Jurgen Klopp made his final tweaks to the squad to complete the Liverpool super team. He knew that Karius wasn't the goalkeeper for the team, so he signed Alisson for £67 million. He also added Fabinho, Naby Keita, and Xherdan Shaqiri to the squad, and finally, the team was complete. This was now a team where every position had a top-class player, and it was time to challenge Pep Guardiola's crown in the Premier League and also get vengeance for the European heartbreak that just occurred. Liverpool won their first 6 games of the 18-19 season, their best start in their history, and that fired them to the top of the league. But their next 2 games were against title rivals Chelsea and Manchester City. They drew 1-1 away in West London and were 0-0 against City at Anfield when Van Dijk fouled Leroy Sané in the 86th minute, giving City a penalty. But Riyad Mahrez blew his chance by smashing the penalty over the bar, meaning the game also ended in a goalless draw. Liverpool won the next 2 games before a tough Merseyside derby against Everton, who locked the door to keep the game goalless until the 96th minute, when Divock Origi pounced on a rebound to win the game, causing Klopp to run onto the pitch to celebrate like a madman. Liverpool then went on a 9-game run that saw them go to the top of the league at Christmas, and usually the team that's top at Christmas wins the league, but Liverpool had tough fixtures ahead. They ended the festive period with games against Arsenal and Man City, but Bobby Firmino would shine in the first of those as Liverpool smashed Arsenal 5-1 before a huge game against City, who scored the first through Sergio Aguero before Firmino equalized, but in the 72nd minute, Leroy Sané would score to inflict Liverpool's first loss of the season. Now, at this point, Liverpool were still top, but a series of draws, including ones against Manchester United and Everton, allowed City to creep ahead of Liverpool by a single point with 9 games to go. Liverpool beat Burnley and Fulham, then got a last-minute winner against Spurs to make it 3 from 3, but City won all their games too. Liverpool then beat Southampton and got a huge win over Chelsea, but still, City didn't slip up. Liverpool beat Cardiff, smashed 5 past Huddersfield, and beat Newcastle 3-2, but yet again, City were ahead, and even though Liverpool won 2-0 on the final day to finish the season with an insane 97 points, Manchester City finished on 98, meaning somehow, despite achieving what would have been the second greatest points tally in Premier League history, they fell short, losing a single game all season. This was devastating. Klopp just couldn't get over the line with this Liverpool team despite turning them into one of the greatest sides of all time, and this would not be the last time City broke Liverpool hearts like this. On individual levels, Salah and Mane were the standout performers up front, as they were both named top goal scorers in the Premier League with 22 goals each. But as much as the Premier League proved total heartbreak, the Champions League was an entirely different story. Now, Liverpool just about scraped through their group with PSG finishing first and Liverpool second on 9 points, level with third-place Napoli. But thanks to a better head-to-head, they landed a spot in the round of 16. They defeated Bayern Munich 3-1 on aggregate and then smashed Porto 6-1 in the next round, meaning they landed themselves a place in the semi-finals against Barcelona. And this is where one of the worst and the greatest nights in Liverpool history occurred. They were battered 3-0 in the first leg, with former Liverpool man Luis Suarez scoring the first and Messi killing off Liverpool's Champions League dreams with 2 late goals, meaning they headed to Anfield 3 goals down against one of the best teams in the world with the best player in the world. For any club in Europe, this would be impossible, but Liverpool had overcome such odds before against AC Milan in Istanbul back in 2005, so this was part of the club's DNA, and they never stopped believing, with Klopp saying, "Just try or fail in the most beautiful way." An early goal from Divock Origi gave them a glimmer of hope. Then, early in the second half, Georginio Wijnaldum produced 3 minutes of genius, scoring a low drive and then a header to bring Liverpool level in the tie. And when Trent Alexander-Arnold tried a quick corner in the 79th minute, Origi was alert again to score his second of the match and send Liverpool into the final in one of the greatest Champions League comebacks of all time. And Liverpool probably couldn't believe their luck, as instead of facing Real Madrid, AC Milan, or Manchester City, they faced Tottenham Hotspur. Salah scored a penalty in the second minute to put Liverpool in the driver's seat, and then Liverpool's defense completely shut out Spurs' attack before Origi finished the job late on to give Jurgen Klopp his first trophy with Liverpool and finally put the bottling comments to bed. But now, as much as Liverpool were European champions, the fans craved something even more than that. They still hadn't won a league since 1990, and they were desperate, which is exactly why next season was even more special than this one. Interestingly enough, for the first time in Klopp's time at Anfield, they didn't really do much in the transfer window. No major incomings or outgoings, which meant Liverpool came back exactly as they left off. They did start the season with the Community Shield loss on penalties to City, but then lifted the UEFA Super Cup on penalties to Chelsea, which made up for the first loss. And as the Premier League campaign rolled out, Liverpool were not going to leave anything to chance as they started with a bang, winning their first 8 Premier League games and seeing off the likes of Arsenal and Chelsea in the process. Andy Robertson made a heroic last-ditch tackle to save the day against Sheffield United, and James Milner getting a last-minute penalty kick winner over Leicester to keep the run going until Liverpool traveled to Old Trafford to face Manchester United, who took the lead through Marcus Rashford before Adam Lallana came off the bench to score late on and secure a point. Liverpool were now 6 points clear of City, but again had to come from behind against Tottenham. They then found themselves losing to Aston Villa with 3 minutes of normal time remaining before Andy Robertson headed in at the back post, and in the 5th minute of injury time, Sadio Mane got the winner, showing how Klopp's side were truly mentality monsters, with Van Dijk simply saying, "It's what we do." Next up came Manchester City, where Liverpool widened the gap to 9 points, and they just kept winning. In December, they headed off to the Club World Cup, where they beat Flamengo in extra time to secure another trophy, but still they were chasing down that Premier League title. And as the year drew to a close, Liverpool put Leicester firmly in their place with a 4-0 win, courtesy of a brace from Firmino and goals from Milner and Alexander-Arnold. So by January, when Van Dijk and Salah scored to beat Manchester United 2-0, fans were finally singing, "We're going to win the league." And despite all those years when Liverpool were top at Christmas, only to throw the title away in the second half of the season, this year, fans knew it would finally be different, as nothing could derail Liverpool, who went on an 18-match winning streak. And even though they were finally beaten with a shock 3-0 defeat by Watford in February, they were already an insane 25 points ahead of City, which is so far ahead that the title was inevitable, bar some sort of crazy natural disaster or pandemic or, well, Football was shut down overnight, with the COVID pandemic putting the country into a complete state of panic. Liverpool needed just 2 more wins to be crowned champions, but this had to be delayed. Liverpool fans were nervously waiting for announcements from the government or football authorities. But thankfully, the rest of the season was to be played out in the summer, and on June 21st, they played their 30th match of the season against Everton, but this time behind closed doors. The game finished 0-0, but Liverpool were back in action. They absolutely dominated Crystal Palace in their next game, with goals from Trent, Salah, Fabinho, and Mane, giving Liverpool the 4-0 win. And when Man City lost their game to Chelsea 24 hours later, Liverpool were crowned champions of England for the 19th time, setting record after record, including the most consecutive home wins and finishing with 99 points, which was the second highest points total in the top flight history, as Klopp's side went officially down as one of the greatest teams of all time. Klopp had finally beaten Pep, but as much as this Premier League was celebrated, this Liverpool team were just so hungry for more. But could they really keep up this intensity for yet another season? In the summer of 2020, Liverpool made moves in the transfer market, signing forward Diogo Jota and midfielder Thiago. But unfortunately, these weren't enough to re-energize Liverpool, who actually won their first 3 games before a surprise battering 7-2 by Aston Villa, followed by a nightmare injury to key defender Virgil van Dijk against Everton, which would be the start of a defensive injury crisis for Liverpool, who also lost Joe Gomez and Joel Matip. To make matters worse, they'd sold Dejan Lovren in the summer, meaning Liverpool were really bare bones at the back. And even though they remained unbeaten until the end of the year and were actually top of the Premier League again at Christmas, the lack of support meant Anfield was no longer a fortress, and Liverpool lost a shocking 6 home games in a row, dropping as low as 7th before recovering at the end of the season to finish 3rd, 30 points short of the previous season's epic total. In 2021, Liverpool continued their rebuild, bringing in Luis Diaz and adding defensive strength in Ibrahima Konate, and with fans back in the stadiums, Liverpool started the 21-22 season strongly, flying top of the league once again after 6 games, and it took until the 11th game to lose their first. but of course they recovered quickly, winning 6 on the bounce, putting them in a strong position in the league. Now, by this point in Klopp's tenure, he still hadn't won any of the domestic cups. He was obviously both a Champions League and Premier League winner, but now it was time to dominate everything. And as this season progressed, more and more did fans think the impossible was going to be possible. Come January, they found themselves in the League Cup final against Chelsea, and after finishing 0-0, this game went to penalties, going all the way to the 11th kick, where Chelsea's goalkeeper had to step up and missed, meaning Liverpool were crowned League Cup champions, making that one of 4 possible trophies this year. Back in the league, Liverpool pushed City all the way, going on a 10-game winning run before their trip to the Etihad. But unfortunately, the game ended 2-2, and at such a late stage in the season, this was really a title decider. By this point, Liverpool were still in all competitions. They were marching into the Champions League final. They entered the final Premier League day 1 point off City, and they even found themselves in the FA Cup final, meaning they were quite literally on the cusp of immortality as the quadruple was up for grabs. Unfortunately, the month of May did not go their way. City just wouldn't slip up, as Liverpool yet again finished 1 point off City with a 92-point tally. In the FA Cup final, Liverpool faced Chelsea and once again drew 0-0 before winning 6-5 on penalties to give Jurgen Klopp the domestic cup title. But in their very last game of the season, Klopp's men marched out to yet another Champions League final against Real Madrid, and history unfortunately repeated itself. They just couldn't get past this side, losing 1-0 at the hands of a Vinicius Jr. goal. Meaning, as much as 2 domestic cups is great, they were literally 2 games away from immortality that year. Now, this season clearly took a toll on the whole squad, as it looked like they finally ran out of gas. Come 2022-23, they did pick up a Community Shield, but that's about all there was to celebrate, as they ended up finishing the season in 5th place, missing out on the Champions League spots as Klopp entered the final season of his Liverpool career with one last chance to bring glory to the city he loved so much. Come 2023-24, this Liverpool side did bounce back, and once again, Liverpool would start strongly, finding themselves top of the league by Christmas amid a 15-game unbeaten run, as well as smashing West Ham in the League Cup quarterfinals and scraping past Fulham in the semis to set up yet another Chelsea-Liverpool final, which was also 0-0 after 90 minutes and looked destined for penalties before Van Dijk scored in the 118th minute to win Klopp his 2nd League Cup of his career. In the Europa League, Klopp couldn't replicate the same success, as they lost 3-1 on aggregate to Atalanta in the quarterfinals, and come the end of the league season, Liverpool's form fell off as they fell down to 3rd place behind both Arsenal and, of course, Pep's Man City. And this proved to be the end of Klopp's time in charge of the team, as he simply said he was tired and couldn't keep pushing at the same level. He won every single trophy he could win at the club. He turned Liverpool into one of the most feared teams in Europe, and he even left the squad in the best possible shape to be inherited, as the very next season, Arne Slot lifted the Premier League title without making a single signing, meaning furthermore Jurgen Klopp will forever go down as a legend of Liverpool Football Club. Now, if you miss Klopp in the Premier League, you should subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, you will also love the one I have on screen for you now, so click it.